Hey kids, it's Miss Sasha. Welcome back to art class. I'm super excited to be here today. Today we're going to talk all about the 9-banded armadillos. Armadillo is a Spanish word which means little armored one. Their most recognizable features are their armored-like shells. They're made of bony plates that cover their backs, their head, their leg, and their tail. Look, backs, head, leg, and tail. Little armored one. Did you know that the armadillo is the only mammal with this natural protective armor? How many species of armadillos are there? Do you have a good guess? Show me with your fingers. Maybe 2, maybe 5? Nope. There are about 21 species of armadillos in existence. The only one that has made its way to the United States or Texas or the Gulf Coast states is the 9-banded armadillo. This guy right here, right? So out of the 21 species, how big do you think armadillos get? Well, they weigh anywhere from 3 ounces, which is really little, to about 120 pounds, which is like the size of a human. They're 120 pounds. The size is from 6 little inches into 6 feet long, which is the giant armadillo. And armadillos come in an impressive range of like sizes and shapes, right? And they all have like some really silly names. 9-banded armadillo is not that silly, but some of the less known armadillos of the 21 species that they talk about, one of them is called the screaming hairy armadillo. That is so silly, right? Can you imagine what that one looks like? It's gotta be hairy, and I wonder what that sound is that they talk about, right? And another one is the long-nosed armadillo. I mean, this one already has a long nose. Can you imagine how long the long-nosed armadillo's nose must be? I bet it's really, really long, right? And the southern naked-tailed armadillo. What does that mean? There's no clothes on this tail. I wonder what the other one looks like. And this one, this one must be very little. It's called the pink fairy armadillo. They say it's only the size of a little squirrel, a little bitty armadillo, about that big, right? And then they have the giant armadillo, and that's the one that can weigh up to 120 pounds. That's really big, right? So where do armadillos live? Anybody have any good ideas? All armadillos, except for the 9-banded armadillo, live in Central and South America. That's pretty far away, right? And they don't have a lot of body fat, so they need to stay in a place that has warmer weather or a warmer climate, right? However, the 9-banded armadillo migrates between Argentina and the southern United States, but it's the only species found in the United States. So this is the only one we'll see around here. When I go camping sometimes, I see these little armadillos running around, right? Doing their little armadillo thing, right? The 9-banded armadillos can be found in most like hardwood forests where there's a lot of scrub and a lot of brush, a lot of low-lying bushes and scrub, right? It prefers areas that have like really soft soil so they can burrow into it. They have these little claws and they use them to dig and scratch in the earth. So it's really hard land. The armadillos wouldn't be able to find what they need, right? And so it prefers these areas of soft soil so they can burrow into them. They usually are found near some type of water source. So you won't find them like in the desert, these 9-banded armadillos. They need to be near water sources. So maybe like streams, creeks, lakes, little different watering holes, right? Like something you would find when you're in the woods or camping around, right? And armadillos are nocturnal. Do you know what nocturnal means? Can you take a good guess? I bet you've talked about this when you talk about other animals that are nocturnal, like bats or some eagles or something that might be more nocturnal, right? What does that mean? That means they come out at night, right? They sleep during the day. So they stay underground during the day and they forage or look for food at night around dusk. So they sleep in burrows. So they the armadillo might have more than one burrow. So if he's traveled to a different spot in the forest, he might have a burrow over there, and then maybe another burrow for another night, right? But they use their little claws and their little nose to dig holes in that soft soil so they can sleep during the day and forage. Forage means kind of scratch and dig and look for bugs and different things to eat at night, right? The 9-banded armadillos are also solitary. Do you know what solitary means? It means they spend a lot of time alone. They do not have sleepovers. They spend time alone. So like if you've ever played the card game called Solitaire, you play that alone. It's a one-person game. So solitaire is alone. They spend a lot of time alone. So let's see. Do you have any good ideas on what an armadillo might eat? Any good ideas? Remember, they use their little nose and their little claws. They find things in the dirt. They are omnivores, right? So they eat plants and meat, right? We are omnivores. We eat plants and meat, right? They feed more on like insects, little tiny bugs and larvae that they can find, you know. They enjoy ants. They like termites. They like worms and grubs, little beetles. They eat lots of plants, right? So they might find some little leafy greens somewhere, right? They eat eggs. So if they might find a little nest with eggs, they would eat those eggs. And they eat small little vertebrates, little lizards, little centipedes, all kinds of different little bugs, anything they can find in that soft earth, right? But they are preyed upon by bigger animals. So they have to be really careful because there's some other animals that like to eat maybe the armadillo, right? And that's something like a coyote, maybe cougars, some bobcats, and even sometimes birds will swoop down and get them, right? Even if they're not too big, right? Maybe a hawk or an eagle might swoop down to get that little armadillo, right? Armadillos, some people think that armadillos are rodents. A rodent is like a rat, right? An armadillo is not a rodent, and it's not a marsupial, which would be more like a possum. An armadillo is not a marsupial. It's not a rodent. It's actually a mammal, right? They're warm-blooded animals. They're like a dog or a mouse or a bear or a whale or even a human. We are mammals. They have backbones. They feed their young milk, and their skin is pretty covered with hair. Okay, so they are not rodents. They are mammals. Okay, let's see. Another good important thing about an armadillo is that they have really poor vision. Really poor vision. So in order for them to forage and to find things in the earth, their vision is not good. But a lot of times when you have one of your senses that is not as strong, then a different sense takes over and helps you out. So they have a very sensitive sense of smell. So they use their little pointy nose to smell things, right? So if you ever get a chance, if you're out in the woods, watch how the little armadillo kind of walks around in the earth and looks for different things and uses his sense of smell. You'll see he kind of puts his nose down in the earth, and then he walks to a new spot and puts his little nose down in the earth and walks to another spot. He's using his sense of smell and not his sense of sight. Okay? So that's really important. So the supplies we're going to need today are going to be 2 pieces of white paper and some assorted crayons. Now is a good time to pause your video and gather all your supplies. Now that you've gathered all your supplies, let's go ahead and get started. Let's get 1 piece of white paper. You can put them on top of each other. Put it in front of you horizontally, which is wide. And let's practice some lines and get some ideas for our armadillo's shell pattern. Okay, I want to show you these. This is not a real armadillo. This is a picture of an armadillo. Maybe an artist went ahead and painted this one and this one, right? Even this one. This is a picture of a real armadillo. You can see it's 9 bands. All of these have 9 bands because these are the 9-banded armadillos. I put this one so you can see his little face. Look at this guy. This is really cute. Look at these little baby armadillos. Someone painted their toenails, probably so they could tell them apart from each other, okay? When armadillos have babies, they have 4 identical quadruplets. So maybe this person was taking care of these armadillos and they had to be able to tell them apart. So they painted their little fingernails, okay? All right, go ahead and pick one color, any color, your favorite color, okay? And we're gonna make some stripes that go vertical from top to bottom, okay? Watch, I'll do it over here. Maybe I'll do a few lines. We won't do 9 of them yet, okay? Give them a little bit of space so you can do a little pattern on the inside of that line. We'll practice for a minute. You got your little lines. See how they didn't go from top to bottom. We'll practice a few more times. Maybe on this one I did zigzag line and I did a dotted line. Maybe in here I'll do a wavy line. I'll skip a space, wavy line, skip a space, and a wavy line. You could do a wavy line as zigzag. You could do curved if you want. Go ahead and do a few lines. And when you're done, you can pick a different color. And on the other one, you can maybe add, I'm gonna do dashed lines in this one. I'm just thinking of ideas that I could use for another armadillo's shell pattern. So you can practice however you want. I might even take this color because it's already in my hand, and maybe I'll put a dotted line inside of my wavy lines. You could do a different color too. So go ahead and practice a few lines for your armadillo's shell pattern. A baby armadillo is called a pup. Not a puppy, but a pup, right? There are other animals that have their babies that are called pups. Can you think of any? Perfect. I think what I'll do is I'll add a whole nother color to this pattern that I already have going right here. Let's see, maybe I'll color in this other part of my wavy line. Just like that. Making my pattern more detailed, right? Perfect. You have a good pattern going? Can you share your pattern with your neighbor? All right, let's go ahead and do another pattern. Watch. We'll do, let me use a different color. I will use this dark green. I'm gonna do lines vertical again because that's how our armadillo is gonna go. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This time I might put triangles. Watch. Triangle. Skip one. Triangle. And maybe on the other one, I'll do little tiny vertical lines across. Look. How's that look? I like this one. I'm getting some ideas. I could use a different color to color in my triangles, or I could put circles in the middle of my triangles. Oops, this gets tight right there. Look at that. Keep adding to it, right? What are details? It just makes it more exciting, right? You put in fine details in every portion of your shell pattern. And on this picture, some of them have lines that go off the back. Like this is a triangle. So you might even want to put triangles coming off of the edge of your pattern. So when you draw your armadillo's shell, you might have more design on the back of his shell. Good job, everybody. Can you keep an armadillo as a pet? Do you think people have pet armadillos? I don't think so. It's actually illegal to keep an armadillo as a pet. I had no idea. So you cannot have a pet armadillo. A lot of people will help raise baby armadillos if the mom goes missing or as something happened to it. They will take care of the baby armadillos, but they'll release them back out into the wild. So they don't keep armadillos as pets, right? Okay, let's go ahead and get your other piece of paper. Put it in front of you, and we're going to start drawing our armadillo. But keep your other paper close to you so you can use it for your pattern ideas, right? You'll want to be able to think of those different pattern ideas. All right, go ahead and get a color. Let's not use green. Get a different color because we don't want it to blend in too much to our grass at the bottom. We're going to make a horizontal line that goes across. However long you make it is however big your armadillo is going to be. But remember, you need to leave space for his tail and space for his head. I'm not doing it at the very bottom because I also need space for his feet. So look, a little bit above, watch. Goes across, and I'm going to stop. One straight line. This one's a little bit lower to the bottom than this is, okay? You got it? Okay. Now we're going to make a hump, look, for his shell. A hump. Okay? Watch. Hump. That's his back, right? His little armored self, right? That's like his little defense, right? There are some armadillos, not these, but there's a 3-banded armadillo that rolls up into a ball for protection. And I thought it was very interesting. Look at this. They look a lot like roly-polies that you find, right? Or pill bugs. I'm not sure, everybody calls these a little bit different, but this looks a lot like the armadillo. But this is a roly-poly. This is a 3-banded armadillo. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and add his tail. You can do it on whatever side you want. I did this tail out. Some of you might want to have his little tail curve down around. Maybe well, let's put his legs first, and then you'll know where to curve it. So if you do 4 little rectangles for his little feet, then you know where your tail cannot go, right? We'll add his little claws in a minute. Okay, this tail went out with a little curved line, almost like a little smile. This tail, I'll do it curved around. Watch, it goes curve. And then I'll start here and I'll curve. You can do it either way, okay? Whichever way you want. And you can go ahead and put some little lines on there while you're at it, okay? Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and add his little head. His little head is kind of in the shape of a triangle. So I think it's easy for me to show you that. Watch. I went out, down, okay? So at the bottom here, I want you to put a little slanted line. Got it? And up here, watch, it goes a triangle, like a V, and then it curves back to his little head, okay? He's got pretty pointy little ears. See these little ears? I'm still using the same color. I'll let you change colors in a minute, but I have one ear here, goes up, down, and then I put the inside. I'm just gonna color his little inside of his ear in. Got it? Do you think armadillos can swim with this heavy armor? Well, even though his shell weighs a lot, armadillos do not sink in the water. They can actually swim fast across a pond or a river, and they can hold their breath underwater for like 6 minutes. That's a really long time. And they can float on the water by filling up their lungs and their stomach with water, kind of like we do before you take a breath, right? And armadillos can cross rivers and streams by swimming like doggy paddle, like a dog would do, right? Or walking on the bottom while holding their breath at the same time. That's pretty talented, right? Okay, let's do his little eyes. It's like 2 ovals, and then he's got his little eyeball in there, okay? Perfect. And you can just color in the triangle at the end of his little nose. Okay? So we need to make a 9-banded armadillo. That means we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stripes. Watch. I'll start close here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's okay if it goes all the way across his body, okay? Get 10 stripes, okay? And then when you're done making your 10 stripes, go ahead and grab a green crayon. We're going to do our background. We're going to do our horizon line. It's going to go right by his shell here. Watch, it goes across. And then by his head. We don't go through his body. And across. That's like the grass. He's standing on the grass. Okay. And go ahead and add some grass, some zigzags on both sides. And then I added some here and there. I used the dark green. Oh, we didn't add his little claws. Go ahead and add his little claws. Look, little claws. Little zigzags there too, right? He needs those for foraging. Added grass. I didn't quite color it in yet. I was going to use a different green, but if you don't have a different green, you know what you can do. You can lightly color in the green. Don't color over your crayon marks. Go in around his tail, in between his little legs. If you get some on his legs, that's okay. We can go back and color it later. Maybe later you can go back and draw some little grubs and some larvae and some little beetles, right, for him to eat. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and grab our brown. We'll make some trees for our forest. Or we can even grab you can even take your orange crayon and put a circle for our moon to start. I do these dashes around to make my moon glow. If you want to do your moon first, that's fine. Then you know where your trees can go. Okay. Can armadillos climb? You think they can climb? They're not really known to be tree climbers. However, they're pretty good at climbing a fence. They can climb a little fence, but they're not good at climbing tall trees, right? Right? Okay, so let's do some trees. My trees are just like if you do a rectangle, a tall, skinny rectangle, and color it in, right? A nice, tall, skinny rectangle. And then if you do the letter, turn it into a Y, the letter Y, and then put some little V's, make it some V's, another Y, and a V, and a Y, and a V, until you have lots of branches. Remember, they like to be in the forest, so it has to be a tree with a lot of branches. I did one on each side of him. Look, this one might curve over. There's a big letter Y. And here's a V and a Y and a V until I have lots and lots of branches. Okay, perfect. I'll give you a little minute to do that. Do you know that armadillos spend up to 16 hours a day sleeping? Well, there's only 24 hours in the day. That means they might sleep their life away in their little burrows, right? All by themselves without having a sleepover, being all solitary, right? Okay. Okay, so get your yellow. Let's color in our moon. You can even do some more glow if you want. Make your moon glow. So like I said, they don't really share their burrow with other armadillos, although, get this, they do share them with tortoises, snakes, and rats. So they don't share with their own species, they share with other animals, right? Okay, go ahead and get your green. We're gonna do the top of the trees. And all I did for the top of the trees was a little swirly line. I made my trees nice and big and beautiful. right? Perfect. Armadillos do not like the cold. Remember that. That's why they're kind of in the southern states, right? They don't like to be cold. Their body doesn't like it. They have long, sticky tongues. They're used to quickly slurp up insects and bugs from the ground. That's what they use their tongue. We don't see a picture of their tongue, but it is long and sticky. Okay, so we're going to color in our armadillo now. You can do it whatever color you want, as long as you have a pattern in his 9 bands, okay? So I think I am going to color my armadillo's face orange. I'm not going to color his eyes orange. I'm just going to color his face orange. And I think I'm going to color his feet orange. I mean, his legs orange. And I'm going to color his tail with an orange pattern. Right? What color are you going to do yours? I might add his little claws with a dark blue. And maybe I'll do the rest of his tail pattern. Remember, you can do yours whatever color you want, as long as his bands have a nice pattern. Okay. Maybe I'll use some pink. I'll do his ears pink. And the part that's not the bands will be pink. Like that. And then I have to think of my pattern. I'll go ahead and let you get a little caught up. Okay. Now, I didn't color my background of a night sky because you can do that in a minute. You can use dark blue. You can use black to carefully go around everything. You could put stars in the sky. He could be foraging at night. Remember, during the day, he'd be in his burrow. So we need to make sure we do that. Okay, I'm going to do my pattern. I'm going to do dark purple zigzags. Like this. And on the other one, I'm going to do red, or what color is this? It's kind of a dark pink, circles. And there. So you decide part of your pattern. I'll give you a minute. I probably will add something to the inside of my circles, right? That would be cool. Let's see, maybe dark blue dots. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. Remember, the more details you have, the better. And if your lines are close together and you can only color them in a color pattern, like red, yellow, red, yellow, red, yellow, like an AB pattern, that's fine too. It's your armadillo. You can do it whatever colors you want, right? Now that you know how to draw an armadillo, you can do it again and make a different pattern, right? So today was really great. We learned all about the 9-banded armadillo and their habitat. We designed a pattern for its shell and learned some fun armadillo facts. I'll see you next week.